Sorry. All right. I'm hoping it's recording. Yeah. Okay. 3. Oh no, wait. Fuck. I want to try something.
Well, we already have 2 viewers, so we're
All right, let's get right into it. Good. Sorry, we're a bit behind, guys. Wasn't ready for this. Okay, let's go this. What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another post-game show of the Curfew Boys. Chris, I wanted to start the episode with the panic button, like a beautiful bipolar Habs fan. Game 1, Sasana Cup, we're winning it. You know, we're winning this year. We're gonna make the playoffs. Game 2 is like, let's trade everybody. Let's bench fucking Primo. That's exactly the conversation we're having in our group chat. Everybody, calm down. It's just game.
calm down.
It's just game 2. But before we get things started, Chris, if you guys like what you hear, you can follow the Curfew Boys on Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, and you can subscribe and see our beautiful faces on our YouTube channel. Please leave an honest rating. We love to hear your feedback on how we are. Only way we can make things better. Game 2, back to back against our rivals, our division rivals as well. On top of that, not just a normal rival. Toronto game 1, Boston game 2. It was tough. I wasn't expecting an easy game tonight, but I wasn't expecting what I saw tonight. The guys were not there. They did not show up. They were all over the place. They were lost. It was just discouraging what I saw. Now I know we're jumping the gun. It's only game 2. Ballbuster Zook keeps saying it was fatigue. I don't want to use that excuse. They're NHL players. They're built for this sport. They're built to play 82 games plus playoffs. Don't give me this bullshit that they're tired after game 2. Please. Okay. Yes, they
Yeah.
traveled from Montreal to Boston, which is what, a 5-hour drive if they took the bus, or an hour flight if they took the plane. Don't give me this BX excuse that it's fatigue. I'll tell you that right now. Chris, I see that you're holding something in. Go. Take over.
I'm smiling way too much after a loss against Boston. I fucking hate that team. Like I
Oh,
said, a little
hold
bit
on.
more
Sorry.
respect for them
I
than Toronto, but
Sorry, I have to
pardon
cut
me.
you off. I'm laughing because the comments are coming in, and of course, Sammy, fatigue boys, fatigue. Shut up with this fatigue. It's only game 2. How do you expect to make it to the playoffs and play fucking 4 rounds of dirty, crazy playoff hockey? And if you're gonna complain at game 2 fatigue, please, that's a bullshit excuse. Go, Chris. Just had to say that.
Nah, in all honesty, I know that it's not nice to do such a thing, but I'm gonna attribute this loss to Caden Primo. Really, I think he put his stamp in a very negative way on this game. We still scored 4 goals on Swayman with less than 30 shots. If I'm not wrong, Gallagher had one of his best games in years, if not his best game. Josh Anderson had a great physical game. He contributed on the point sheet. I think he was very present. You can always say whether or not a player finds himself on the score sheet, you can tell, you can remember their shifts, you'll remember what they contributed throughout the game, and those players actually really stood out. Lane Hudson remains a point per game player in the National Hockey League. Fantastic play. And again, a lot of these experts saying, oh, we're not so sure that he's going to be able to translate this at the NHL level. Yeah, he's walking players. Last night he did it to Tavares. You know, he's doing it perfectly and comfortably well against some great defensive players as well, like Marchand. Um, in
He
all honesty,
turned
there were a lot of positives to take back. They scored 4 goals against a very good defensive team. Again, it's going to come back to Primo, and I also did like the fact the Montreal Canadiens looked very intimidated after the Bruins started hitting them a lot in the second period. That they like, even Caulfield, he started coughing up the puck a little bit more. They weren't so sure with the puck. I didn't like that, and we benched one of our tougher guys. We have Arbor sitting on the bench, not playing. I know they were on for a goal, but again, very fluky. So
Okay,
that's my
so
analysis of the game on the overall.
let's jump right into it. Like to our beautiful fans out there, we want to get you involved. So we always ask you guys a question. We post on Instagram to send us your feedback, your thoughts, and questions for us to answer on this podcast. So let's start off with this question since you brought up Primo. We have CED_1203. Thank you for the comment. Basically, his question was thoughts on Primo's performance. Now, you said it. Now, I don't. If you want to compare it to yesterday's game where we didn't play an amazing game and we had Monty who saved us, because between me and you, we should have lost yesterday's game, right? Like it wasn't a perfect game and Monty saved us. A game like tonight, if we had a performance like Monty, we probably could have managed to win it or go to overtime, right?
I think we would
So
have won. I genuinely think, Anthony,
I,
don't
I
hold your words. I think we would have won.
I don't want to say that because I don't want to fully blame Primo. 100% Primo let in a lot of stupid goals. Goals that my son, who's in novice, could have saved. Okay? Put that aside. I don't think the team in front of him played good enough to help him as well. Again, a lot of stupid goals that he could have easily be saved. But at the same time, the team felt, like you said, they looked intimidated. They were all over the place. A lot of mistakes. The passes were horrible. Our face-off percentage, I don't have the stats in front of me. I should have prepped
I
it.
think we're
But the
like
last two games,
30%, 35%, which is crap.
horrible. Okay. A power play again, guys. If you want to make it to the playoffs, if you want to win, you got to take advantage, especially a game like tonight where the other team is dominating. Okay. The Boston Bruins were dominating. Okay. If you want to try to win and keep the game close on against a team that's dominating you, take advantage of those power plays. Even at
Matheson drop.
we'll get to that after. But even at the end of the game, we took out our goalie. We were 6-on-3, 6-on-4. They did nothing during that little moment. You need
Yeah.
to take advantage of these moments, and they did not. That being said, another question from our fans. There was something that I saw. I want to get to it to get to my next comment. Give me 1 second. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, damn it. I lost it. Where is it? Did it disappear? There was someone who mentioned it's not there anymore. I can't see it anymore. So my apologies if I'm saying, yeah, there we go. Jesse67 Cowboy. I hope that 67 is not for Pacioretty, my man. But anyways, Jesse67 Cowboy said, we can't keep getting outshot like we are. Not impressed. Hands down, perfect comment to make. 2 games in a row, we're getting outshot. Mid-second period, the shots were what, 18-6 or 10-6 or whatever it was. We took 6 shots in the span of 2 periods. Halfway through the second period, we just had 6 shots on net total. That is not something we can do, especially against the Boston Bruins.
Yeah. I think, it goes back into what I said before. I found that the Montreal Canadiens they looked very much intimidated. At one point early on in the second period, Boston started running over our players and especially some of the smaller players. And then, you know, it was what it was. It was a major, major, major slowdown and foot off the gas. And it was 15 minutes without a shot. Now, at the same time, don't get me wrong. I think at one point it was like 28-10 in terms of the shots or something close to that. The Canadians caught up significantly. They made a hard push, but again, like you said, you can't afford to go a 15-minute stretch. I'm not talking about 15 minutes on the clock, 15 minutes on the game clock that you do not have a shot. That is horrible. That
Mhm.
is absolutely unacceptable. And yeah, we
That's
can't we
why
can't
I don't want
afford.
to blame fully. I don't want to fully blame Primo. Again, a lot of pointing fingers at Primo for letting those stupid goals go in, but you cannot fully blame him because, again, the team was not all there. They were just all over the place. I can't really, I don't know who to point fingers at, but we just need to, one, like I said before, fix that face-off situation. We need to start winning face-offs. Okay, we need
Yeah.
to start facing winning faceoffs. Two, this has been an ongoing issue for years. Not power play. I know it's only game two, but it's just an ongoing problem that we have. And the last two games, I think we had a total of what, 8 power plays, and we just scored two or something like that, give or
Yeah, it
take.
was 2 it was 2 last game we had 5 power plays, not
And we
6 or
scored
7, but we had
one.
5 power plays, we were 1 for 5,
And
and
today we
today we
had.
were, like, 1 for I think, again, it was, like, 1 for 5 or 1 for
Let
6,
me grab these stats. It's good to have popular stats tonight.
in between time, and this might be a question, we'll give a
Six
shout out.
6 power plays, 1 goal.
6
That's
power plays, there you go. There but okay, so I'm gonna make Joey very happy here because I have no problem saying this. Right now, I put a significant amount of blame on Mike Matheson's decisions on the power play. I keep saying, I like Mike Matheson. I love, like, I don't mind him playing in regular time. I don't mind him playing in overtime. I don't mind him playing on the shorthanded. But I find he makes a lot of bad decisions. He's a little bit too anxious with the puck in the offensive zone during the power play. Lane Hudson tonight, the way I saw it is Lane Hudson was able to slow down the game and open up space and get plays going, and then he'd pass it to a guy like Armia. He'd pass it to a guy like Barry Boulet, who was just not making the greatest decisions with the puck. So when we had wise decisions on the back end, we didn't have the forwards to follow through. When we had the forwards following through, well, we had poor decisions on the back end. Romy wants to join into the to the
what's up,
podcast
Roman.
here, but Romy's going to go down. All that to say, I'm blaming some boneheaded decisions of Matheson's on, like, I think he had 3 turnovers in
Mhm.
20 seconds on the second to last or the last power play that Montreal had.
Correct.
That was unacceptable. That's something that Lane Hudson's not going to do. But at a certain point in time, it's not a question of Matheson. When is the coach? I understand that the coach is probably trying to protect one of his veteran leaders, one of the assistant captains on the team, but it's got to come sooner rather than later. Marty's got to sit him down in the office, and Marty has to take some responsibility for who he puts out
Okay,
on the ice for the power play.
perfect. On to something else from Rafiki786. Okay, a couple of things that he mentioned, a couple of questions he brought up in our Pulse game questions. One of them, and it perfect segue to it because you just said something. Um, One more question. He writes, it's a small sample size, but does this year's team have a different energy? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Are you talking about a good energy or a bad energy? But I'll give you my answer to that. Yesterday's energy, team wise, I think they came out pumped and excited and whatever. Today, I felt little energy. But I want to ask you this question, Chris. And I'm not sure if you heard the post game interview with Marty yesterday. And if you notice Marty today behind the bench, I feel there's something off. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Yesterday's press conference, especially after a win, he sounded very, very blunt. Like there's something bothering him. I don't know what it is. I don't know if I'm overthinking it. I always look at the little things, like I always say in this podcast. The little things like mean a lot to me. He was just very like short answers. He sounded depressed or tired. And even tonight, when the camera kept going to him, he just didn't look all there. I think he's just his mind is overoccupied. I think there's something. Again, I'm just assuming maybe something happening on a personal side. He just, to me, his energy is very low, especially game two. I don't. I feel there's something bothering him. I don't know what it is. And
I,
Rafiki just answered what I questioned about his question. He just wrote broken and lacking chemistry as if they're still in preseason. I mean, it's too early to tell. Um, but do you? Am I wrong? Am I overthinking it? Am I just being stupid here about Marty? Do you feel what I feel?
no,
Did you hear his press
I,
conference yesterday?
no, I don't think you're being stupid. Like, being stupid is a little bit harsh on yourself. But the one thing that I will say, I don't think he's gonna get as riled up unless the Canadians truly have a good game. But as we saw in the rebuild, as we saw in many interviews and conferences, I think Marty's expecting far more from the team this year. And I think there were
100%.
some pretty crappy, like, I think, yes, if you whether you take yesterday's game or today's game, Yesterday's game was, there were a few more things to celebrate, although there was a lack of conversion. Today's game, there were more defensive lapses and mistakes. Um, there were a handful. Marty wasn't very patient tonight. He also changed up the lines at one
I
given
noticed
point
that a
in
lot.
time. I don't think this year is going to be patient Marty and like wrap, especially during games. He's not going to come and wrap his arm around the players and just be, oh, it's okay, next shift. I think this year it's go time, and if you're not performing, and we want a chance to win, look what happened. It was 5-2. We ended the game. It should have been a 5-4 game. On s'entend. Are
Mhm.
we in agreement? It should have been a 5-4 game without that shitty sixth goal that went in off of an impossible bounce. But all that to say, yeah, I just I think Marty's gonna have higher highs and lower lows possibly this year.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I hope so. I just feel, again, I'm just overthinking it, but I just felt something off with him in the press conference yesterday and today behind the bench. Again, it could be just me overthinking it, but it's just game two. I would expect to see a smile on this guy's face, but it wasn't there in the last 2 days. Even his press conference was very no energy and just, again, I feel like there's something bothering him or something is going on. But anyways, that's just me overthinking it like usual. Okay, on to the next question. So we spoke about this before, but let's get back into it. I'm going to combine two questions because it's I want to look at some. We're talking a lot of negative of this game, which yes, there's a lot of negativity about this game, but there's some positives, as we mentioned before. But I want to integrate it with these questions. So we have Rafiki, who said Anderson and Gallagher watched the preview episode from Tuesday. What a game! And then we have Anthony dot ebarb. How you feeling about Hudson? PPG in his career, point per game in his career so far with the googly eyes. Look, if you want to talk about positive tonight, those were my three positives. You had Gallagher, who played fantastic hockey. Yes, Joey, Gallagher played fantastic hockey, scored 2 goals. He's on pace for 82 goals this season. So fuck you. Sorry about that. I just had to say that. He's on pace for 82 goals. Joking. But anyways, he played a very, very good game. Okay.
Yeah,
Despite how bad the team was playing, Gallagher was out there. You saw him. He was one of the players that you kept noticing. Okay,
yeah,
Anderson also played a very good game. Nice goal, um, nice reflection, and Hudson. I mean, the guy is just that guy can turn nothing into something in the
yeah,
offensive zone and also in the defensive zone. Even if he makes a mistake, he'll find a way to fix that mistake fairly fast. And just, I know it's just 2 games in, but he's again, he's turning nothing into something. 2 assists tonight, almost scored a goal at the end, wide open net in the 6-on-4. Didn't get that opportunity to score that goal, but he could have buried it. But still, it doesn't matter. I don't need him to score goals. He's a playmaker. And what we saw tonight, if he can continue that and just get better and better, I just cannot wait to see this guy play. But we just, like we said yesterday's post game show, what we said in the preview show, they also said it today on 690. We need to see more of Hudson. Give him more minutes. Put him on the first power play. We need to see more of him. I know he's still young, inexperienced, but just him alone with the inexperience is better than some of the experienced players. So let's
yeah.
put more ice time for Hudson. He's a great player.
Yeah, let's not forget one of his assists. Honestly, it was a highlight reel, um,
Mm-hmm.
skating up with the puck and bringing it into the zone, and again, just so deceptive, fantastic. I can't say enough. Like honestly, even if Lane Hudson were to have 20 minutes of play in a given game, like I don't think that's it. Like I'm always craving more. Like he always leaves us wanting to see more hockey and more play on his behalf. We had Oliver Kapanen too. I think that's also worth mentioning. I know it's not necessarily part of the game, but he got his first NHL point.
Mm-hmm.
Hats off to Oliver there. But yeah, no point per game player Lane. Point per game Lane. That's going to be his new name. But point per game Lane. seriously, he cannot get onto that first power play unit quick enough. He is going to change. I will sign. I will date it. I will drop. I'll put a drop of blood on it to bet. He is going to completely change the power play.
He needs
That
to play
first
with
power
Suzuki
play
and
unit.
Caulfield in the power play. He's making magic with Anderson and Gallagher. Imagine with Suzuki and Caulfield.
Yeah,
Imagine.
yeah.
Like
It's
it's
not.
gonna come.
It's
It's
not.
gonna come. Let's be patient. It's gonna come.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
question for you. We spoke about this in our group chats during the game a couple of times, and we have one of our fans, Mateo underscore Di Loretto. Refs have been dreadful so far tonight. 100%. A lot of missed calls. Though there was a lot of calls being made. There was even a stupid one against us, which I'll take it. It was that
High stick. Gallagher high
no,
stick. Well, there was one that shouldn't have been like Boston should have not been penalized. Gallagher high sticked. Who was it? Armia. It was a clear high stick from. I don't know how the hell the ref saw that, but there was interference. The interference on I think it was
it was
Newhook. There was tripping on Anderson.
Anderson. A
Fucking
lot of missed
garbage,
calls.
garbage.
A lot of missed calls, but if you want to look at it that way, maybe they replaced those missed calls with the high stick that shouldn't have been called. And at the end, the wasting time penalty at the end when it was the 6-on-4, Boston
Oh
just got
yeah,
that penalty and everybody was questioning it, even the fans, even us. But we'll take it. But at the end of the day, we didn't take advantage of them. And that's what's pissing me off because you need to take advantage of these power plays if you want to win games. Tonight, 6 power plays. We lost 6-4. Imagine scoring 2 or 3 more out of the 6. I'm not saying to score all 6 power plays, but if you even did half, if you succeeded on half of those power plays, we would have had a tied game. Or
yeah,
maybe take the lead, have momentum, and not have Boston score that 6th or 5th goal. So,
yeah.
we need to take advantage. I can't just keep repeating that. But again, it's the downfall of the second period. First period wasn't a great one, but we maintained the Bruins. Okay. It ended, what, 3-2, right? We scored those 2 goals. We took the lead twice. We lost the lead, whatever. But we still kept the game close and maintained it. I'll even blame the first period on Primo because we played pretty well.
Yeah.
We scored those 2 goals. Primo let in those shitty goals. But then the downfall of the second period, we just came out like last year and everything just fell apart. And in the third period, yes, it wasn't perfect, but we came back. We had heart that scored those goals to almost catch up the game. And then again, Primo screwed up with that 6th goal that shouldn't have been a goal because it was 5-4 with 11
Yeah,
minutes left. It would have been beautiful.
there were it was more like 5 minutes left, but 5 minutes, 5-4, anything can happen.
Of course.
And it completely talking, we're gonna go back to using a word, that we used when Laine got injured, but completely
The more
deflated
deflated. Well, let's
after that 6th goal. It's just like, "We just battled, we're back in it, boys, let's go, let's get this 5th goal, let's tie this game." And off of Barron into the top corner, what the fuck is going on? Game over type thing. It's just like, okay,
well
pack
Zane.
the bags, let's get out of here. Primo, fuck. They're not gonna they're professionals, they're teammates, they're brothers. They're not gonna turn and point fingers. Every player has the right to a bad game. It's just when you're a goalie and you have a bad game, it's a little bit more apparent. And unfortunately, Primo was really rebound control was awful. Puck tracking was
Oh my
awful.
god, the rebound
And
control. There was so many. This game should have ended like 15-4 because there was a lot of chances that Boston missed out on because of these rebounds. Look, we have. Yeah, I wanted to bring that up. I know Joey said this, so thank you, Big Pizza Pie. How you doing? I love you on the show. You were there yesterday and our pregame show and even tonight. So thank you for your support. Even Rafik, thank you for support. He says this: I get the fact that it's back-to-back games, but why wouldn't we play Monty again? Primo looks shaky. Okay, let me bring this up. I was contemplating as well yesterday when I was driving back home after the game. I was with a friend and I'm like, who do you think will play tomorrow? I said, okay, I'll be guilty. Let's put Primo. It's back to back, 47 shots on Monty. I think he's a little tired after 40. If it was a shutout of 20 shots, whatever. But it was 47 shots. He kept the game on his shoulders. Let's rest him and make him health and perfect for Saturday night. Okay. But then I'm looking at it a different way. Is that the guy shut out the Toronto Maple Leafs? You keep him behind those bars until a goal goes in. Like you kind of like. I'm not saying this was a punishment, but it's like, hey, thanks for the 47 saves. Sit down tonight. I think he should have played tonight. This was me saying this now again after seeing the way Primo played. So maybe I'm just contradicting myself, but because if Primo would have played an amazing game, then we wouldn't have this conversation. But I think Monty should have played because after 47 saves, you don't take the guy out. You know what I mean?
So, so big pizza pie. Thank you for the question, Anthony. I agree with you, but I'm gonna also say hindsight is 2020. You could look at it and say, man, 48 save shutout deserves the night off. Let him rest. You could also say, hey, he had an outstanding game. He absolutely deserved to go back in the nets. Uh, but at the same time, what the way now that we can't change the past, we can't undo this decision. I think Marty could have easily pulled Zook.
Ball
I
buster
think,
Zook all night.
yeah,
Fatigue. It's
he's
not
busting
fatigue,
balls
dude.
from. But that said, like in all seriousness, again going back to the whole notion of hindsight is 2020. Yeah, maybe we could have even pulled Primo after the first period after letting in those 3 goals because again those goals were fairly weak. So Marty could have already made that coaching decision as well, possibly. That wasn't happening. But at the end of the day, let's take one positive out of this. I think we know who's starting Saturday, and
No,
if there's a 2-day span or a break between the games, until Monty plays a little shaky, I don't change it. And it's perfect. If Primo if the next time Primo goes in nets and he's shaky again,
okay, so
you play the hot hand all the way.
question for you. I just want to get through all these questions before we end this episode because we're getting close to the end here. Speaking of Primo, this question is too soon to tell. Again, we're pressing that panic button. It's only game two and only game one for Primo. So I think we're just throwing in the towel too early. We know what Primo is capable of doing. Give him a chance. I don't want to put full blame on him. But this question is from Gordo Habs. Do you think they would ever call up Dobash this season? Too soon to tell. We can't throw in the towel on Primo yet. I think Dobash comes up if there's an injury. I don't see them
Yeah.
bringing down Primo. I mean, I don't think he's that bad of a goalie. I think it's just a one-off night. He's still shaky. It's against the Bruins. We don't know, but I think it's too early to tell. Next question. We have Mitch 29 Dimetrio. Sorry if I'm saying it wrong. Boston keeps shooting slappers from the point. How can we do more of that? I keep saying the same thing. I mean, we need to just keep shooting the puck. I think we said this last year in many episodes, and the year before, and the year before that. We always try to wait for that perfect shot. Even in our power plays, I think that's also why we don't score goals. We take too much time in that zone. We try to make that perfect pass, that perfect play until until they try to get that shot. I get it. It's right because you don't want to make that mistake, but at the same time, taking shots from the point to surprise the goalie because I think our power play right now and even the way we play our 5-on-5 is very how do you say it? What's the word I'm looking for? Predictable. So the players know what the next move is going to be. If we start shooting more and also trying to find that perfect play and mix that up a little bit, you'll confuse the defense and the offense and the goalie because you don't know when that shot's going to happen. So to answer that question, Boston keep shooting more. How can we do that? They need to start doing that.
There's also the fact that like who's on the back end. Lane Hudson doesn't have. I'm sorry to say, we love him, but he doesn't have a big bomb on the as of a shot. You look at Gooley, he's got a half decent wrist shot. Who's got the best shot on the back end? It's Arbor Jacki. But if you compare Arbor Jacki, who probably has a harder shot than most, if not all, of the Bruins defensemen, the thing is, Arbor probably won't control the puck and get the release off as quickly as a McAvoy. That's just the way it is. So I'd love to do more of that. I'd love to see more of that, Gordo, but I don't think when we have Logan Mailloux coming up. Now that's a big shot on the point. That's somebody who's going to control the puck very quickly. If Jack gets a little bit more gets a
But
little bit more quick and gets control of that puck, I think
you
he could
don't
let a few go. But it's also the forwards got to zip in, drag the players towards the net, and then the puck
look at
gets sent back to the point, and then you have the big booming shots that are coming through. That's how it's going to happen. So it's going to be a mix of the style of play along with the personnel that we
but you
have on
don't need
defense.
that
So
perfect shot either, right? Like look at Gallagher's first goal and look at Anderson's goal. There were just little flicks from the point and there was a tip in. You
it's
don't
true.
need to have the perfect shot like Sheldon Surrey or fucking Weber. Yes, it's nice to have, and I wish we had that. But little flickers, like we just witnessed it tonight, 2 goals from the point, tip in midway from Anderson and Gallagher at the crease. That's all you need sometimes, right? So, anyways, we'll see how the year goes. We'll just go, Chris.
I want to address because they've been like these comments came through a few minutes ago, but the real JKV. He wrote, Gooley needs to be more physical. He got muscled off the puck many times tonight. You had Big Pizza Pie said, I agree. He needs to be tougher, but at least he's generating points. So with Gooley, I think in all fairness, let's call a spade a spade. Gooley had a few half decent hits. He separated some guys from the puck a couple of times, but these are still guys like these are still very young guys. They're naturally going to fill out. They're naturally going to get bigger and stronger towards the age of 24, 25, 26. That's just a natural physical occurrence that's going to come. What I would say, and what I do have a problem with in terms of the physical game, is even for a guy like Jack who didn't play very, very much, he still did it more than the others, but the forwards have to finish their checks. I am tired of seeing the Montreal Canadiens, every single one of their players. You have Lane Hudson, Zadorov is chasing after him. He's going all the way next to the bench to hit Hudson. Why can we not finish our checks? That to me is unacceptable. I don't care how big or how small you are. You fucking throw everything you got into a hit and you let them know that you're there. And funny enough, right around the time in the third period that Montreal started playing a little bit more aggressive, and you had guys like Gallagher, like again, where we've been very harsh on Gallagher, but I will give him praise today. On top of his 2 goals, when the Canadiens started coming back into the game, you had Jake Evans, you had Armia, and you had Gallagher pressing high, pushing guys against the boards, and you know what? They're not big hits. It's Gallagher's not gonna, he might leave a bruise at the very most, but you're not getting injured if you're getting hit by Gallagher most like 99.9% of the time. So all that to say, Boston still started to fumble the puck with little hits. So why are you not always finishing your hits, finishing the checks, getting defensemen uneasy and getting those turnovers as a result? That the team toughness and the team follow through that has to be there.
I agree. 100% well said. Well said. Okay, we'll end us off with a few more questions, little comments. We already answered it yesterday's episode, but I always promise our fans that we will mention their name on our episode. So, Dawes_garage, can the Habs stay in the hunt until Laney's return? Too early to tell, but we said it in the preview episode. If the Habs are still in playoff hunt come December, January, when Laney comes back, get ready, NHL world. The Habs are gonna fucking have a nice spark there. So we mentioned that already. Thanks for that question. Too early to tell. It's only 2 games in, but I really hope we're still in that hunt come December because it will be beautiful to see Liney back and still have that push for playoffs.
So, Anthony, I'm going to ask you questions before I answer that. What do you consider Toronto to be a good regular season team?
They're always a good regular season team. They just suck in playoffs.
Okay. Do you consider Boston to be a half decent, fairly good team?
I still think they're a good team. They're on the decline, but I think they still have it.
Okay. So, for the fans that are for the question that came through, let's not forget Primo let in a minimum of 3 bad goals in this
Mhm.
given game. If Primo didn't let in 3 bad goals, we still scored 4 goals
Against the
against the
Musketeers.
Bruins. We
Okay.
still beat the Leafs. If it's any indication of what's to come, I definitely think that the Habs are still going to be in the famous mix come Liney's return. Based off of what I'm seeing for now, there's obviously room to improve. There's obviously even room to go downward. But if they play like this and they could actually be scoring goals and they could be keeping up, I mean, like I said, there was that 15-minute window there, which was not bad. It was shit. It was absolutely atrocious. But if the Canadians can keep and stick to the game and still be, a goal or two off, I was very surprised that the Habs. I'll leave it at this. I was very surprised that the Habs came back and scored two more goals to bring it back to 5-4. That was a significant character. Um, I don't want to say character move, but character achievement. The team didn't just drop its shoulders and call it a night.
They showed
They could have.
character. They
They
showed
didn't.
character like they did last year. And I'm happy to see that. Okay, Malik Joe, I think you sent this message um, at the beginning of the game. So first goal, who is gonna score? Well, we know the answer now. It was Gallagher. Nice goal. 2 goals tonight. On pace for 82, Joey. So thank you for that question or comment, Malik Joe. And then Nunu Arteries art. I can't say art artistry. Big fan of ours since
Nuno.
day one.
Yeah,
Nunu.
Nuno. She infamously made us our
Yes,
coasters.
yes, she did. So her question. So Nunu, as you are a big fan of ours, we've spoke about this many times in our episodes. How is age, all of the young ones, going to be an advantage for us? Look, what I like about the age group of our team, they're young, they're growing together, building chemistry together from the beginning. Like in the show, the rebuild, they're not just building a house, they're building a home. So these young players, that's the advantage for our team in this league. We're building a team from scratch at a young age. They're going to grow together, and one day, if everything we projected to be these players are going to become, it's just going to be dangerous for the league. That's the advantage we have for a young team like this. Thanks for your question. Thanks for your support, Nuno. We love always speaking to you, and we love the support. And then we have Brendan underscore Costigan. We spoke about this earlier, so I just want to mention his name. He mentioned about Matheson. Why is he running the PP1? We answered at the beginning of this episode. We don't know why. We want Matheson. We want Hudson there. But yeah, we don't know why he's on the PP1. I mean, he is a good player. He does, bring a lot of value to this team, but he hasn't showed it in the first 2 games. So hopefully he can pick up his game.
My best
Chris,
guess for that my best guess for that is just you have a coach who's trying to make his veteran who's giving his veteran an opportunity to stand out and get the job done. And again, you have a kid who played 2 NHL games versus a defenseman who was practically at point 0.5 points per game last season. So, there is an obligation for Marty to show a little respect to an assistant captain, as I said earlier in the episode, but that has to come to an end quickly, especially if it continues as such. But the only justification that I have for you, the only logical justification is you're showing a veteran who had a fantastic previous season, the respect, and you're giving him the opportunity to shine again. And at a certain point, well, if he doesn't come through, then it's going to be time for a change.
yep. Okay, we're gonna end this post game show. We passed our time, but we love all these questions. I'm just gonna mention these 2 names just out of love and respect and for the support. But we spoke about it. So freelance IC, how the fuck is Dobej not backing Monty? Get Tuck in the lineup. Look, it's too early for Dobej. We've seen what Primo can do. Just give him some time. Let's not press that panic button yet. Uh, and get Tuck in the lineup. We want to see Tuck in the lineup, but again, too early. Let's see how the season goes. It's only 2 games. Let's not press that panic button. And last question, and then we're gonna end this up. Jacob underscore S91s. Are we going to see Prime Galley again? He's looking good out there. I love this question. This is strictly for Joey. We will see Prime Galley this year. He scored 2 goals and he's on pace for 82 and he's going to have an amazing season. Joey Gallagher is going to win. I don't know. I'm just fucking around. But I just love, I still have love for Galley. Yes, he's on the decline, but he still has some juice in him. And if he can keep this up, he can score those 20 goals this season.
Yeah,
32,
regardless.
18 left.
Yeah, regardless, he'll be overpaid no matter what. But if he can have contributions like that on the fourth line, for the rest of the season, that is going to be a huge X factor for us. Honestly, like I hope for it. I really, really, really hope. We're not rooting against Gallagher. It's that freaking contract that buries him. But
I think
nevertheless,
that's why we're all.
Galley. But given his position, all I'm saying is Galley can be a huge X factor for this team if he has games like tonight. Fourth lines going up against fourth lines or third lines, he can surprise. So keep it up, Brendan Gallagher. We wish you all the best. Fucking kick some ass and go get yourself 20 goals. Like Joey. Maybe we have a running bet with Joey to see, does Gallagher get to 20 goals, and what if not? Do the
Yeah.
rest of the Curfew boys have to undergo some sort of a
I already
dare
have
or
a bet
something
with
like that?
Joey and I'm winning it so far, but we'll get to that in another episode. All right, Chris. That was an amazing post game show. It was an unfortunate loss, but it's only game 2. We're 1-1 and it's good. We're not 0-2. Let's look at the positive. Guys, if you love what you hear, you can follow us on Apple, Spotify, any podcast platform you love to listen to. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, X, and you can subscribe on our channel to see our beautiful faces on YouTube. We love all your support. Thank you for all your questions on Instagram. Everybody who's on live YouTube right now, we don't see all the names, but I'm only going to mention the names that I see in the chat. We have Big Pizza Pie, The Real JKV, Zook, Ballbuster, Zook, Rafik, thank you. And we have Zane. Guys, we love your support. Keep them up. We're going to still show some more love and support throughout the season. Keep sending your feedback and opinions and questions. We will mention them in all our episodes. We love you. Chris, any last words?
Fatigue.
Fatigue. That's the episode title, Fatigue. All right, until next time, Saturday night against Ottawa Senators at home. Hopefully have a better outcome on that one. But again, let's not press that panic button yet. Until next time, bye now.
Bye now.
Good night.
Dynasty fatigue.